My guest on the Jersey Central Newsmaker Hotline is an author with an interesting perspective on a rather hot topic in our society. There's going to be a second edition release of his book next week that is called Home Alive, 11 Must Steps for Surviving Encounters with the Police. And he's providing a very interesting perspective on this. Let's welcome in Dr. Geoffrey Varner, the author who was with me here this morning on WCTC. Good morning, Doctor. It's Bert Barron. How are you?
Good morning, Bert. And how are you this morning?
Good to talk to you, and thanks for taking some time to speak with me today. This is a hot topic, and this is something that's talked about in all corners of our country. The perspective, Doctor, of this book, talk about how this book is written from whose point of view is Home Alive written?
So this book is written from the perspective of anyone who has a young child or anyone who has a teenager who has to interact with the police. Meaning, at the end of the day, when you're stopped, it's more about getting home alive. It's not about what went wrong or right, because if I really think about it, during a stop, the officer has all the power. So the goal is to get out of that stop alive and safely. And if there's something that I went wrong, then you go back and, as the book points out, deal with what may have gone wrong during that stop.
Yeah, and it seems for me, when I'm pulled over, all I want to do is look, if I'm going to get a ticket, let me get my ticket. I'm not going to give any hard time. I'll yes, sir. I'll no, sir. I'll do whatever I have to do. If I did something wrong, I'll take my ticket. I just want both of us to get out of there okay. That should be the end result for every traffic stop, shouldn't it?
That should be the end result, absolutely. But there are things that we can do to de-escalate. Meaning, for instance, if you're pulled over and it is nighttime, before the officer even approaches your car, you should have the inside console on. Your windows should be rolled down so that the officer sees if there's someone in the back seat, and your hand should be on the steering wheel. That way, the officer starts off feeling more safe just right off the bat. So you de-escalate.
Yeah, and I think in New Jersey, Doctor, that might even be, it was talked about either becoming a law or it was a bill at one point that you had to have that interior light on anytime you were pulled over. But it just makes good sense to do so, because if I'm an officer and I pull somebody over and I see they have their light on, the window open, and their hands at 10 and 2, this is somebody that gets it. So right away, I don't know, maybe I feel a little bit relaxed heading into this encounter.
Yeah, you're right, but also I think that we grew up during the same period of time, and this is different from how we were taught. When we were taught, you get pulled over, you reach and get your license and registration out. No, during this period of time, if you get pulled over, you don't do anything but turn that inside console on and put your hands on the steering wheel, because after all, this is about saving lives.
Yeah,
this is about getting everybody home alive.
I guess now it's pull over and await further instructions. I guess that's how it's done nowadays, right?
Absolutely. And let me add one more thing: that
of course,
pull over, wait further instructions, and obey all instructions.
Yeah. But when it's do this, I need this. Just comply and just go along with it. You're right. Absolutely critical. You've added in some new content, and I want to talk about this a little bit. Make the officer feel safe. Talk about some things that we could do just to make an officer feel safe when he or she pulls us over.
Well, we've actually already talked about that in terms of rolling down the window and putting your hands on the steering wheel. In addition, make sure that you ask the officer for permission to do everything. Meaning, if even once they ask you for your license and registration, you say, "Officer, is it okay if I reach for my license and registration?" In addition, it would be nice before you're even pulled over, and moms and dads, listen to me, to have a care package already, meaning to have your license and registrations and a copy of your license all in one central place, where all your child or your loved one has to do is just reach for it. Then that way the officer knows that you get it. In addition, if you don't mind me add just one more thing.
Of course.
There's a car placard that I've seen that people now put up, and it says, "I support officer safety." Now, seems small, but in the thousands of officers that I have spoken to, when they come across that placard, you coined it best. What that says to the officer once they feel safe is, this person gets it. This person gets that I want to be safe, and I want to make sure that the citizen is safe as well.
Yeah, I mean that's what you want. You want you want an encounter to be peaceful and cordial, and if you get a ticket, you get a ticket. But you know what? At the end of the day, everybody goes back home to their families. That's the best possible outcome we want for everybody who's ever pulled over.
Absolutely, and you can get more information about this at DrSavingLives.com. Again, DrSavingLives.com. But as an ER doctor, I get to see the effects of when things go wrong from the perspective of the citizen, but then also I'm taking care of officers as well.
I'm sure
so this person uses real ER stories to make these principles stick. And then also, while it's very important, the historical and social aspect to this enormous problem is very, very big. However, it purposely deals with the stop. The whole goal of that stop is not to be heard, is not to be listened to, is to get home alive.
Gotcha. PBA card, $100 bill, that's not going to help me, is it? Probably not, right?
That may actually get you locked up.
It probably could. But what concerns me, and just one last thing for you, Geoffrey, what concerns me is, I'll have my wallet or my registration will be my license in my back pocket in my wallet. You're telling me that I should wait for the officer to ask for these documents. Then I got to come back and say, well, it's in my back pocket. Is it okay if I reach for it? Is that kind of what I have to do?
That's exactly what you have to do. You've got to play the meanest game of Simon Says, because after all, if Simon says to move, then you ask Simon if it's okay to move. Because after all, keep in mind, the officer needs to feel safe first, and the way you make the officer feel like safe is to let them know that you get it. And by the way, you don't want any misunderstanding. You want to be very clear that what you are reaching for. But there's one other thing that I added, and this is something that will be helpful to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's available at Dr. Saving Lives. There's a kit. There's a kit on there that says police documents, and you go ahead and you put your license and registration. Copy of your license, registration, and insurance. So all you have to do is reach for it and put it all out at once. But you don't reach until the officer gives you permission.
Understood. And do police officers still, after they pull you over, doctor, when they're walking towards your window, sometimes the officer will touch your car and put his or her handprint on the vehicle. Is that still done? Is that a routine procedure?
That is, but you know what they're really looking for? They're really making sure that trunk is locked.
Is that what that's for?
Pop out. Yeah, they want to make sure that no one pops out of that trunk. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
The life is filled with you never know what's going to happen. However, the lives of citizens, as we see, are impacted when officers don't feel safe.
Yeah.
As well. And as I've got a 12-year-old son who's old enough to be killed by the police, and a 15-year-old daughter. If you don't mind, I will share what I tell them.
Of course, go ahead.
Daddy can fix you no matter what happens during that stop. No matter how he makes you feel, no matter what goes wrong, no matter what happens. If you get home, Daddy can you're dead. There's nothing you can do.
That's right.
So your goal to any stop is to hush, get home, and let mommy and daddy fix whatever went wrong. Mommy, daddy, clergy, teachers, whoever, fix what happened during that stop.
That's what it's all about. I enjoyed our conversation, Doctor. One last time, how people can buy the book?
They can go to DrSavingLives.com. Again, DrSavingLives.com. And again, this is simply about trying to get our loved ones home alive. And thank you for all that you do for the community as well, Bert.
Awesome information. Dr. Geoffrey Mount Varner, thank you for the time this morning, and congratulations on this book. I'll definitely give it a read, and I appreciate the time this morning.
Thanks very much.